welcome to the UX Kitchen, and this is the first episode. I'm Csaba Házi, I'm a UX expert, and it's been a while, but the important thing is that here we are, and we're making the first official episode, okay? So it's going to be a special one, since I got a request to do a design challenge. It's a UX designer entry task of a company. So this is like a task that you would get if you were to apply as a UX designer to a larger corporation, okay? And yes, I'm going to tell you the brief and what the task is, and I'm going to solve it in front of you, and we can talk through, how to manage this task, okay? With that said, if you would like me to do another challenge, if you have something specific in mind, then let me know, okay? So here comes the brief. I'm reading it for the first time, okay? So we have a user persona, and we have a use case, and we have deliverables. So let's see the persona. What we know so far is that the persona is called Anna. She's 32 years old. Relationships, engaged. Okay, it's getting weird. Income 50K in USD. I suppose it's a yearly salary. Education, university, monthly budget 60 USD. All right. Okay. So my first reaction that it's actually not very helpful as a persona. To be honest, it couldn't be least helpful. And okay, so what do you do in a situation like this? Because obviously, it's hard to use this information like engaged, university education. Okay, how am I going to use that in the design process instead of pointing out facts about the usage or about the context or how the product's going to be used and stuff like that. So a persona can be filled with like a lot of valuable information. Instead, I got basic information like this. So how do you react to a situation like this? So I'm a candidate. I got this task. And I have to work with it. I mean, in this case, obviously not, have a go at the company saying, dude, that persona thing sucks. Obviously not going to do that. But what you can do is you can point out that, it's not very, it can be really connected to the product, and you can say good examples of what would you put in a persona instead. And you can also point out the fact that one of the common pitfalls with user personas is that you would create them, what you wouldn't use them during the process. And it's like a perfect example of why a lot of people are creating personas, but they couldn't use them because it's not filled with information that's useful during the design process. Okay, so yeah, we'll see if it's helpful. Continuing with the use case. So Anna has a dog, Molly, who is 9 years old and has an illness. Okay, poor Molly. Anna and her fiance live in an apartment with a garden, so Molly can wander around in the garden. Right, that's cool. Anna would like to have an eye on her dog while they're not at home. Also, she'd like to get information on Molly's health condition and share it with their vet. Okay, that's a good one, actually. Yesterday, she bought a nice new smart collar called Trackerly. Anna would like to connect Molly's smart collar with the mobile app on her smartphone. After login, she also has to register the dog and share some information about her age, weight, medical data, etc. A few days later, she would like to see what happened with the dog in the last 48 hours by checking the walks she did and checking her healthcare data. She would like to share the GPS data on Molly's Facebook and Instagram page. Come on. and share it with her fans and send the healthcare data to the web. So I'm pointing out the fact right now that don't create an Instagram account to your pet, okay? So just don't do that. I mean, I know it's the task, but otherwise don't do that. All right, so what we have, deliverables. So this is where's the receipt, you know, we are cooking something. And now the deliverables. Screen flow of main interactions in PDF, all right? Low fidelity wireframes of key screens, at least 4 screens like registration, login, device pairing, pet health data page, routes history, medical data analysis page, sharing on social media in PDF. All right, so what we are going to do is we're going to take this brief first and create a so-called functionality map. Now, it's interesting because it's not among the deliverables to create like a functionality map. But you couldn't really start mapping out the screen flow and build up the actual process until you have like a good understanding of what are the functionalities of this specific app, okay? So I'm going to jump to the whiteboard and let's get started. All right, so like I said, we're going to start with a functionality map. Now, I think that the easiest way to do this is to start to create a mind map. Now, I don't know if you ever draw a mind map. It's like, it starts from a central idea and you start connecting, in this case, like functions to it, and then you can add more and more information. And this is a nice way to, one, map out a lot of information. I mean, this compared to like a simple bullet list or like a textual something, it can contain a lot more information. One, two, it's a lot easier to see the connections and what's the logical relationship between the functionalities, and you can always play around with, you know, what to connect to where. So in this case, our central idea would be the name of the app. I don't know if we have the name for the app. A new smart collar for tracker Lee and connect to the app. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to use the name that tracker Lee. It's the mobile app's name, okay? So tracker and LE. So this is our central idea. What we want to do is to see that what are the functions and contents that we have to design. Because once we know it, then we can think about how to build up the process, and then we can go to the, you know, like the individual screens. So what we know so far, I like to start with like a platform idea. So let's see what we have. We have a mobile app, of course. We also have the color, which will be important. Now, at this point, we don't know if there's like a web application to it. So any sort of, you know, website, or can I access it otherwise than downloading the app? So, and this is an important question because I just said that I have to download the app. So when I'm thinking about the whole processing thing, I have to consider that how the user will, you know, get to the product. It's a common pitfall that UX designers tend to think about. Yeah, I'm in the product, but it's not how it starts. If there's a website, then how you get to the website. If it's a mobile app, then how you get to that point where you download and install the app, and then you are in the product, and then the journey continues. But let's not forget about this important detail. So Anna has a dog, Molly, blah 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 blah. Anna fiancé lives in an apartment garden, blah 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 blah. Not important, not important. Yesterday, nice color. Okay, let's start with the color thing. We have to pair it. So there's a functionality inside the app that we shall call device pairing. Okay, device pairing. Now, when you get to this point, obviously we have to think about how I'm going to pair these two. So since we have literally no information on this on the brief, we have to think about that. I have, let's say, this is a smart collar. It's a bow tie. So this is a smart collar, and I have my mobile app. Let's see here. Okay, it's on the dog, and I want to pair the two. So how are you going to do that? By the way, when you encounter an issue like this, always think about like other products that works the same like this. In this case, you could check out fitness apps like Fitbit. For example, with Fitbit, you have the devices, and by the way, this is not a promotion or whatsoever to Fitbit, it's just like, use this example. So with Fitbit, you get like smart watches, like bracelets and smart scales, and you also have an app. Now, obviously, you can go in and see that how they promote the devices, because and it's actually a smart one. And we're going to like think about it in terms of the product, because is the app free to download? Because if I can download the app without having the device, then it's important to promote the device in the app. Because if I have the device first, then I download the app because I can't use it anyway, then it's a slightly different situation. But if you can, if it's a standalone app, then you might want to think about promotion as well. So let's go back to the device pairing. So I have the smart collar, and then obviously I go in and I want to identify that particular device. So let's say that I have some sort of number on the collar, or maybe if it's a Bluetooth device. And if you check out Apple, they have some very good ways to pair like the AirPods and all that wireless stuff. So actually, there's like multiple options to this, because I can say that, for example, I enter the device number, and then it's like registered, or like a better way to do it would be Bluetooth connection. Now, in this case, we're going to go in more details later on, but what you have to think through is that I got my device. Here's the collar. Here's the iPhone, and so Bluetooth on. Okay. You have to think about what happens, if you don't switch on Bluetooth. So you have to check Bluetooth connection. Like what if off, so you don't have the Bluetooth switched on your device for whatever reason, then obviously it won't work. So later on we have to warn the user to switch on the Bluetooth. Then let's say it's on, and then I can see the device, but maybe there's multiple devices. So we have to identify we have to pair, and again, it's like, and this is why I love Mindmaps, because what I'm going to just tell you, it stands for like pages and a lot of functionalities. That if you have a function like pair, add, I don't know, whatever, or create, then you always have to think about, okay, how can I remove it? How can I unpair it? Or if I add something, then obviously in most cases I have to have a way to delete it, to remove it, and to modify it. Now, so this is like the basic 3 questions that you have to ask yourself about a function. So if I can do something, can I edit it later on? In this case, Bluetooth connection, pair device, well, edit, I don't really think so, but you definitely want to have a way to unpair it. So pair and unpair. Okay, so Bluetooth connection, I pair the device, I can log in. What else we have? Nice smart color, want to connect smart color with a mobile app on smartphone after login or register. Okay, so obviously I want to log in or sign up to the tool, to the mobile app. So let's say sign up / login. Now here comes the question: how do I sign up? Is it like a free sign up? Where I'm coming from. So I'm just coming from the App Store because I saw this tracker, the app, so I went ahead and downloaded it, or do I see it on whatever website and then I'm redirected to the App Store? So this is the time to think about these. And then with the sign up login, okay, how? Email address, using my email address. Do you want to use a username? 90% of the cases you don't. Don't give the user something extra to remember. This is why I don't like the concept of usernames. Use your email whenever you can, because most of the time you still can get confused or mixed up, or you forget your password, you forget your email address changes. So don't put extra effort. Don't put extra work into this stuff for the user. So. But there's the social login functionality or social sign up, like signing up with Facebook and Google+. So there's like Facebook or Twitter sign up, some cases, LinkedIn as well. Now, a lot of people would go ahead that let's add a lot of options to the users to sign up. Now, I'm a bit against this because again, the more options you give to the users, the bigger possibility they will get, messed up, or they mess up something during the process. So the best is to push them into one direction. Now, in this case, it's interesting because we have Facebook and Instagram page, so it's part social. So what we're thinking about is maybe only allowing like social sign up, because it's on your mobile phone. Most people have like Instagram, Facebook already installed on their mobile phone. Or this is a question about the target users, the user persona. And for example, this is something important about the user persona, that what apps are they using? Because if they use Facebook, if we have a product that the target audience, they all have Facebook or they all have Instagram, then we can say, and since it's owned by the same company basically, we can say, let's keep just the social login. And Facebook, click, boom, authentication, and you're in. Okay, so anyway, something important would be to know that do they use Facebook or Instagram, okay? So let's go into this direction, right? So let's say they sign up using Facebook. Sign up with Facebook. Otherwise, obviously you can draw the classical ones, like sign up with your email address, password, and then you need the forgotten password. Okay, let's jot it down like an alternative path. So sign up with email. That means email plus password. Then you need forgotten password. And obviously in a forgotten password, you have to think about how you're going to channel the visitor. So what happens if I go ahead, okay, I forgot my password, I enter my email address, is it? Okay. So I enter my email address and then I can channel them back to the sign up process, okay? So then what else we have? Mobile app on her smartphone, login, register. Okay, she has to register the dog and share some information about her age, weight, medical data, etc. So, okay, this means that since I'm just checking if I'm wrong, it seems to me that I can add multiple pets to the system. So that means that we have like a core function of adding a pet, okay? So I will put here add pet. Again, when I say add, I'm immediately thinking about removing the pet, right? Just easy. You can use like icons as well. I mean, it's a bit weird saying you trash a pet, but you know, you get what I'm saying. So you add the pet, then what information? Okay, so I will say basic information. So what information do we have to provide? Okay, it's not helping. Age, weight, medical data, etc. Obviously, we want to name our pet or enter the name of the pet. We have to select that, you know, what kind of pet is it? Is it a dog or a cat or a lizard or whatever? It's a hippogriff type. Okay, gender or sexuality. Okay, probably you want to have color as well, because it could be important. And then dog share information about her age, weight. Okay, and of course you might want to have like a profile picture to the dog, right? Now this is the basic information. We already know that we have to add health data as well. So I'm going to put health data. Some background music would be nice. So health data, what we know, age, weight, age, weight. Age, weight. Now, this medical data, obviously it's not helping a lot. So at this point, you can go ahead and say, yeah, okay, what could be important? Can you digitize, for example, you know, like the documents of the pet? Because for most of the pets, you have, you know, all those little books with the shots that the pet received so far. I'll read it with a question mark, or any treatments, you know, like treatments. Obviously here, the question is, how do you enter this information? Can you sync it with something? Is there an existing platform that you can integrate with? Because in some areas, you know, like it's like full on paper. So if you want to digitize and go like paperless with all this stuff, then you basically have to type in these things. So it's like worth considering that what direction to go to. And obviously, a lot of the health data or health/fitness data would come from the color. So maybe we just add some basic details, and with the color, we can, gather more data that we can use. So, okay, share some information on her. A few days later, she would like to see what happened with the dog in the last 24 hours by checking the walks she did and checking her healthcare data. She would like to share the GPS data on Molly's Facebook, Instagram page. Okay, now's the time to go into that. What information can we get from the smart collar? So what we know from the brief is that we have GPS data and they're so-called walks. Okay, so what do we know of the GPS? The walks, which could mean, and in this case, okay, obviously, here's the color. I'm wandering around. So what do we know from the GPS? We know the routes. I mean, we might know the routes. We know the duration. And obviously, I'm riffing here. It's not in the brief, but this is why it's very important to map this all out, because you can see that it draws my attention to details that I was not really thinking before. And if you jump in and just start to design the interfaces, then you might run into like a lot of questions and discrepancies and or just miss out on great opportunities. And obviously, or ideally, when you see this, then you go ahead and check it with your client, with stakeholders, or you involve UX, or you do UX research to get more information. So, but returning to the walks, what we know, we can know we could know the routes, the duration, for example, heart rate. Now, this is a good question. Obviously, from the brief, I have no idea what that color can do, but let's say why not? It would measure the heart rate as well. GPS plus. Well, it's not really connected to the GPS only because the heart rate is not connected to the GPS, but whatever. So we can know the walks and the heart rate monitoring. So basically, what we know about the pet is that where it goes, how much time she spends with XYZ activities. Okay, it's a new idea. If I know, like the timing and the heart rate and the activity, then I am capable of monitoring the activity monitoring. So, like active minutes, and resting. And why it's important to think about the capabilities of the device, the hardware, is because then, for example, this activity monitoring, this could be used in the mobile app to say, at the pet and for the health data. And let's say that for the pet, okay, I will create like a pet page or profile. We can say there's like an activity and I want to set goals. Or the tool itself could set goals, for example. So if I know that I know the age, the weight, and I know about the activity of the pet, so is she going for like a lot of walks, and does she get enough like sport and movement and all that, and this could be extremely helpful. In this case, with the goals, it could be manual. So I'm setting the goals. I'm saying that, yeah, I want my dog to spend at least, let's say 30 active minutes each day. And the color is helping me to monitor this. And obviously, this is like a completely new branch in the system, which is notification. And obviously, a lot of cases, notifications are misused because people get very excited and say, yeah, it's very cool, yeah, let's send a push notification on XYZ topic, on whatever. But in this case, you could use like very smart ways to notify people. For example, notifying them if it's like the heart rate over X number. I mean, we have this for humans. So, for example, my Apple Watch, I can set it to remind me or to send like an alert if my heart rate, resting heart rate exceeds XYZ number. Okay, it could be very important for the pet. And if I'm referring back to the brief, that Anna wants to check on the pet, so like a real-time notification system is like the way to go to. So heart rate monitoring, very important, or activity reminder. So for example, we can see that this was the goal for Molly, yeah. So this was the daily goal for Molly, and she didn't hit that goal. She was just moving like 10 minutes. So when I get home, I get an alert. Oh, sorry, Anna is getting an alert. So she would take Molly for a walk. So she would get, she would stay healthy and active. Okay, pet page activity, goals manual, or going back to the goals, it can be automatic. Again, it's a future possibility, but you could say that you would fill up the app with some sort of basic database. So you would say that we know that for this kind of breed, this kind of age, this kind of, whatever specifications to a pet, this is the recommended daily activity and so on. And obviously you can play around with this, so the user doesn't have to add and specify that much of the data, but instead the system just works, and later on you can like change it, edit it if you want, edit the goals, but it works. You don't have to like configure everything to make it work. Okay, so share some information on her. A few days later, she would like to see what happened. Okay, with the activity, obviously, so this is like a pet profile. I'm going to rename it to pet profile. And you can see that now this board is getting pretty saturated, and still I have the ability to rearrange it and to connect information together if I want to. So for example, this is add pad, I created a new one, but I can merge the two if I want to. So pet profile activity, I want to know like a history. So what the pet did and when. Obviously, like in a minimal form, I want to see like when, I want to see like the types of activities, which could be, like walk, and rest, and some health related something. So is it like a treatment, or when she got shots and so on. And combining the two, this is what I want to get from a history. A few days later, happened checking the walk she did and checking her healthcare data. Okay, so I see the activity. Yeah, it's an interesting question now that where we would connect the health activity. So because it's a possibility that if I'm checking the heart rate, then I want to see like a chart showing the actual the heart rate chart. So we can say, okay, we can see a history. I want to see heart rate. Okay, so pet profile and heart rate, the heart rate chart. And okay, about the pet profile, obviously I want to access the basic information, what I put here. So like basic infos. and Instagram page. All right, so it's an interesting one that yes, I want to share my pets, whatever, on the social media profiles I have. So I need a way to share it. So pet profile, share on social media. Now obviously I can share it on Facebook, I can share it on Instagram, and in this case we have to think about that if I'm signed up with Facebook, so it's a good one, because in this case I can share the information quite easily, okay? And and send the healthcare data to the vet. So it's so let's go into this one. How I'm going to send the information to the vet. The first question or first possibility is that I'm just preparing an email that I'm sending to the vet. I'm running out of space real bad. Okay, but before that, I just looked at the board and I can see the app, I can see the pet profile, and I was wondering that where I would connect the vet. Do I connect it to the app? So that means that if I have multiple pets, then I have the vet contact, and it can be related to multiple pets. Or do I want to connect the vet to the specific pet? Okay. So let's say that I'm choosing this path because I would have different vets for my pets. Okay, yeah. So I have the vet connection. Now here again, the possibilities are so we have a lot of possibilities, because we can, let's say, have an email share option. Then what about like reporting and automatically syncing and sending data to the vet? That's like a good call. So what if I set up like an automatic reporting? So this way, the vet would have like weekly, monthly, whatever, reporting my pet's health condition. So it's connected to their system. So in this case, I don't have to send the data manually, but instead it's just there. And if I give them a call, then that's it. And they know everything. They're up to date. But I have to set up a vet. So like add and remove a vet. What I want to specify. Obviously I want to specify name, contact information. And here the phone could be very important because, for example, if I specify a phone for the vet, then I can say that I give like a shortcut inside the app to to give like the emergency call to the vet. Like again, it's a good call. And obviously I have the email, which is important for the reporting and for the email share as well. Now in this case, obviously I would explore more options and what else you can do with this kind of vet connection, okay? But for the basics, it's quite good. So let's see if we covered everything. Medical data, Facebook insurer, healthcare data to the vet, medical analysis page, device pairing, pet health data, routes history. Yeah, about the device, again, that's that's when it will be more important when doing the sketches. But promoting the devices, so seeing what are the devices that you can use, or is it just the smart color that you can use, or are there more devices? For example, I don't know, XYZ tracker that you can install. So it's kind of good to think through that as well. Okay, so this is a nice way to get started with the design and to think through that what needs to go into the app. And the next step would be to have like a digital version of this functionality map. The reason to do this is because that way you'll be able to add more information to it. So if a feature is like a bit high level and you would need to add more details to get started with the actual designs and start to sketch the interfaces, then you can do that. Like a great tool for this is, for example, Xmind. It runs on Mac and PC as well. So go ahead and check that out. And in the next step, what we are going to do is we're going to start to create like the user journey and think through the actual processes before going into the sketching and designing phase. So with that said, I'm thanking your attention. I hope it was interesting to you. If you have any sort of questions, then let me know. I'm happy to answer it. And my plan is to continue next week from here, and we're going to jump in the user journey next week. So stay tuned and see you all later.